Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic. So, what does George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, Ghostbusters 2016, and the new 2018 She-Ra all have in common? They have all retroactively ruined somebody's childhood. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video today. This is one argument I've seen over the years of being on the internet from other fans, and it always annoyed me to no end. That if something in a franchise comes up that they don't like, then it somehow retroactively ruins everything that came before it. Now, I think this is a stupid argument. Let's use Star Wars as a recent example. I've heard this argument for the prequels, after the prequels had come out, and people were talking about them online. People would use this argument saying, well, George Lucas raped my childhood or ruined my childhood. It's all made up anyway. So if you don't want to watch the prequels, then you don't have to. Beyond your initial viewing of them in the theaters. You can just watch the original trilogy and leave it at that. And just pretend the other movies don't happen. I mean, you can make up your own personal canon. Like, I'm not a big fan of the sequel trilogy. Like The Force Awakens, I didn't mind, that was okay, but I hated The Last Jedi, and Solo was kind of boring, but it was passable. But the love I have for the original trilogy will never be ruined. Like, I can have just as much joy and fun throwing in the original trilogy now as I did before there were the prequels and the sequels. Like, no matter how bad a Star Wars movie gets, or how bad it's written, or how bad it's received, or no matter how bad George Lucas, Kathleen Kennedy, or whoever has Star Wars at the moment, I guess it's Kathleen Kennedy, whoever has Star Wars at the moment, no matter how badly they butcher that franchise, they can't retroactively ruin all the good childhood memories I have associated with the original trilogy. All the good memories I have of watching the movies with friends, reenacting the movies in the backyard, or hunting down the action figures. All the fun we had with that. They can't retroactively ruin that. Like, if you really don't like the prequel trilogy, just don't watch them, just pretend that they don't happen, and just have your own personal canon of Star Wars. You don't have to acknowledge the new movies just because Disney says they're canon. That doesn't mean they have to be a part of your personal canon. Like, I have a friend who, when it comes to Star Trek, he likes the original series, and that's it. He doesn't like anything beyond the original series. So that's all he watches. He'll just watch the original series and the original 6 movies, and that's it. That's Star Trek for him. He doesn't watch anything else. Now, he has watched the other series here and there with me, but he doesn't like them. He only likes the original series when it comes to Star Trek, and that's it. Doesn't like Next Generation, doesn't like Deep Space Nine, doesn't like any of them. That's his own personal choice, and it doesn't retroactively ruin the original series for him. He still loves the original series, and he's still a fan of it. And then there's Star Trek fans who only like the Next Generation, and then that's it. They don't like the original series, they don't like Deep Space, they don't like anything else. But the fact that those other things exist doesn't ruin the Next Generation for them. They can still enjoy it. And the other thing about that argument, it doesn't say anything about the content matter. It doesn't say, like, what's bad about the story. It doesn't give any kind of legitimate argument. Well, this story is bad because of you know, these artistic choices or this plot line or this character or anything like that. It doesn't add anything to the argument. It's just like it's just pouting to me. It's just like being a crybaby when people say that. You know, what I do sometimes is I'll throw on the original Star Wars A New Hope. I'll put that movie on and watch it, and I'll try to watch it from the viewpoint that no other Star Wars movie exists outside of that one. And I just try to imagine, what if this was the only Star Wars movie we had? Let's just say it came out, but it wasn't a big hit. It came out and it didn't do very well, and so you didn't get Empire, Return to Jedi, the prequels, none of this stuff. It never became this big, massive IP that it is today. It was just this one-off sci-fi movie that you know, had a cult following afterwards, but never became the big cultural phenomenon that it became. And just, you know, just from that point of view, and then just imagine what the sequels could have been spawned off from there to that movie. Because in the original Star Wars trilogy, you know, you didn't know what Darth Vader was. Was he like a robotic robot, or you kind of thought he was a guy, but you didn't know, was he fully robot under that? Was he, or just a guy wearing armor? Were there more than one guy like him? You know, so you could all kind of imagine where all that was heading. And you didn't know anything about the Emperor. You didn't know if he was a Force user. You just knew he was the Emperor. That's it. And you didn't know Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker was one and the same. Well, in actual reality, in this, when the original Star Wars trilogy was written, or when the original Star Wars movie was written, they actually were two separate characters. That was something that was retconned in The Empire Strikes Back. So just because, you know, something terrible comes out, a bad Star Wars movie, or a bad Star Trek TV show, you know, it doesn't ruin what came before it. Like Star Trek Discovery, I'm not a fan of it. You know, I started watching it, I started watching some of season 2, and I watched all of season 1, and I just can't get into it. You know, because it breaks canon. I don't like the way it's written. Don't like the way the design of the show. But it's never, ever going to ruin the experience for me of watching the original series. I can go back and rewatch the original series like over and over and over again and love it just as much as ever. You know, I'm not going to go back, oh, well, you know, now it's all ruined, the canon's been violated, so now I can't enjoy the original series. No, I can enjoy it just as much. I just don't watch Discovery. For me, Discovery is not a part of my personal Star Trek canon. You know, it's the original series and everything up from that. And then the J.J. Abrams films, you know, they exist in their own universe. And I just think of Discovery as just some alternate Trek thing in some alternate universe. And I just don't acknowledge it, so it doesn't exist. So it's not going to retroactively ruin my childhood or ruin any of the memories I have of Star Trek. So I always thought that was an annoying argument for people to have against things that retroactively ruin their childhood. The only person that could probably say that George Lucas ruined their childhood is that actor Jake Lloyd that played Anakin Skywalker, because I guess things didn't go so well for him after he did the prequel trilogy for him in school and stuff. So that's probably the only guy that can legitimately say George Lucas ruined his childhood. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.